Hi everyone, thanks for joining today. My name is April Dunham and I'm the Power Platform Advocacy Lead at Microsoft. I'm so excited to be here with you all today at the Power Platform French Summit to talk all about the Power Platform, some new things that we're working on, and what that means for the community. I wanted to start by saying a big thank you to the organizers of this event for bringing this to the French community and for inviting me to do the keynote. So I believe last year, Charles Lamana actually did the keynote for this event, and right at that time, we were right in the middle of the lockdown and the heart of the pandemic. The whole pandemic and the lockdown really caused a massive shift and a need to accelerate digital transformation so that we could accommodate a remote workforce. But thankfully today, most of those lockdowns have been lifted and a lot of organizations are starting to reopen. But even with some organizations returning to the office, we still have 42% of workers who are working remotely. So this great lockdown, as we call it, really fundamentally changed the way that we think about work. And it left a majority of workers actually wanting to continue remote work in some capacity. And this is all leading to a surge in digital jobs. And this is expected to keep increasing over the next 5 years with over 149 million digital job openings. These are in areas like cybersecurity, AI and machine learning, and software development. Part of the reason that we're seeing such an acceleration in these digital job openings is the surging demand that we have for applications. We estimate that over the next 5 years, we're going to have a need for 500 million new applications. To put that into context, that's more than all the apps built in the last 40 years, since the 1980s. Now, these numbers might seem a little bit crazy, but if you've been watching the tech news, then you'll know that they're real. Now, we couple this with the fact that we actually don't have enough developers to meet this demand. We're actually experiencing a 1 million developer shortfall. And 86% of companies are reporting that they can't find the technical talent that they need to meet this app demand. So we have all these openings for new digital jobs. We have 500 million new applications that need to be built, but not enough people with the skills to build them. So you might be wondering, what exactly is the solution? You might think, well, okay, we need to teach everyone to code. Now, teaching 7.6 billion people to code is a pretty daunting task. And there's many reasons why some people simply might not want to do that. They might be intimidated about the thought of learning to code. Or some simply might not have the circumstances and time to devote to a 4-year degree or a coding bootcamp. So teaching everyone to code just really isn't a feasible solution. And when we think about, why would we want to teach people to code? What are we actually trying to solve? Well, we're really trying to enable people to solve their own problems and the problems of those around them. So what is another way that we can do this? Rather than teaching everyone to code, why don't we teach everyone to be a developer with low-code technology so that those 7.6 billion people can learn how to build and make with low-code tools? And in fact, we're showing that 65% of enterprise application development is going to be done using low-code tools by 2024. So what we're talking about here, enabling people to become developers by using low-code technology, has led to a global movement, the low-code revolution, or what we like to say, less code, more power. And I'm such a fan of the less code, more power movement that I even had a pair of custom shoes saying less code, more power made, which is what you're seeing there. And this less code, more power movement is made possible through the Power Platform. So recognizing that there's not enough programmers, data scientists, and IT professionals to meet this demand, Microsoft built a platform targeting these technology experts and the millions of frontline and business workers who see opportunities for improvement every day, but who up until now have never been empowered to actually do anything about it. And this is where the Power Platform really shines through its 4 main key products: Power Apps for low-code application development, Power Automate for workflow and process automation, Power BI for dashboard and reporting and analytics, and Power Virtual Agents for intelligent chatbots. In all of the Power Platform tools working together seamlessly and being able to be extended through our data connector model and through built-in AI with AI Builder. So this really gives us one holistic low-code platform to build mobile and desktop applications, process automations, virtual agents, and dashboards, and all being easily extensible. And low-code is really only part of the story here with the Power Platform. We have the ability to integrate with professional development tools like Azure and Visual Studio, which is equally as important to the low-code elements. To really continue and accelerate the growing trend of Fusion development teams, we made significant improvements over the last few months, making the Power Platform Azure and Visual Studio work seamlessly together. So this really allows traditional developers to seamlessly mix and match professional development tools and the Power Platform. And these solutions that blend pro-code tools and low-code tools really enable developers to solve business problems quickly and with their preferred languages and tools in their existing development environments. And taking a deeper look at Power Apps and its low-code approach to building applications, we see that it allows us to quickly build web and mobile applications. So this is actually the first introduction that I personally had to the Power Platform, was building Power Apps. My background is in traditional development, so I did a lot of classic SharePoint development, .NET development, C#, and all of that back in my day. So in my consulting company, I did a lot of this traditional development, and I was looking for ways to really speed up and be able to do more projects faster. So about 5 years or so ago, I started hearing something about this thing called Power Apps that helps you build applications pretty fast. So I had to take a look at it, and I realized that, wow, I could use this one tool to build an application that will work on my mobile iOS and Android devices and the desktop devices seamlessly. And I saw that it had all these built-in integrations. So if I wanted to have an application that, say, pulled information from a SharePoint list and then also could go pull information from a SQL server or maybe a third-party service, it had all these connectors built in where all I had to do is add the connector in there. I didn't have to worry about building in all this authentication. So that's what really appealed to me, and how I got started in the Power Platform was through Power Apps. And I really enjoyed the experience because I think most of us have some kind of familiarity with the Office suite, and the experience for building a Power App is very like using PowerPoint and using Excel formulas. So I was able to take those existing skills and get started building applications with Power Apps really quickly. The Power Apps really is built for citizen developers, IT pros, and professional developers alike. The other really appealing thing about this is it's built natively into Microsoft 365, so you're able to seamlessly reach the 200 million plus Office 365 users. Probably about the same time that I discovered Power Apps is when I also started working with Power Automate. Pretty much every time we're building an application, there's going to be some kind of business process side of things to it. With Power Automate, I can seamlessly plug into my Power Apps applications to, say, send out approvals, and do any of the workflow process automation that I need to. And it really is a holistic automation platform. We have the same AI builder functionality built into Power Automate like we do in Power Apps to be able to do things like forms processing and text recognition. We have digital process automation through our connector model and being able to integrate to third-party applications so that we can do things like get electronic signatures through Adobe Sign or DocuSign, integrate with Salesforce and other third-party data. We have business process management for automated, guided, multi-step processes. And some of the newest functionality within Power Automate is robotic process automation through Power Automate Desktop. That allows us to go beyond the connector model and these cloud integrations and actually automate things on our desktop. And then another one of the newest ones is process mining. This is getting ahead of the actual automation and identifying what exactly should be automated and what your bottlenecks are. And this process mining capability through Process Miner is now generally available. So you can run and record your business processes through this using Power Automate Desktop, and it will help identify any bottlenecks and where you could best optimize your automations. So definitely check that out. Now, speaking of Power Automate Desktop, that is included out of the box with your Windows license. So this is a lightweight version of Power Automate Desktop that allows you to do automations on your desktop by using a simple recorder to record your actions. You can go to aka.ms/getstarted-pad to check it out. So with the free version, you can do some things, but then you can also integrate that with the full version of Power Automate to be able to do things like integrate a desktop flow with a cloud flow in Power Automate. So many possibilities that we can do with this. And then Power Virtual Agents is one of the newest tools that we have inside of the Power Platform. Chatbots have only been increasing in usage over the years. They're really great for those customer service scenarios. I'm sure we've all interacted with a chatbot at some point. There's always going to be some circumstances that are better suited for conversations than actions in an app. That's where Power Virtual Agents really fits in. So think of a troubleshooter or maybe a knowledge-based FAQ type situation. You need to know when your company hours are or your holidays and if you have vacation time left, things like that. They're really suited well for a conversational chatbot. And with Power Virtual Agents being a part of the overall Power Platform, we're able to easily take action on those conversations. So in that case of someone wanting to know if they have time off left, We can have them interact in the chatbot through Power Virtual Agents and have that virtual agent go call a flow in Power Automate, which can go query our time off system and return if they have any time off left. And these bots that we build through PVA are easily embeddable with inside of Microsoft Teams and external websites, and they're extensible with Bot Framework. Now, given the breadth of all the tools that we have for the Power Platform, it's very easy to bring value to custom apps for pretty much any scenario. So from an HR perspective, things like employee feedback, vacation requests, employee onboarding, and time entry could be good use cases. There's lots of use cases for the sales and service industry for order management. From a marketing perspective, this could be good for conference organization. I actually created a Power Apps template for managing a virtual conference that we used here at Microsoft. Operations is another big area. This is a great use case to automate some inventory processes. For Power Apps, for example, we have built-in barcode scanning that we can utilize for these inventory scenarios. From a social and collaboration side, this is a really great tool for knowledge management. I mentioned Power Virtual Agents just a minute ago and how that's good for Q&A. So you might have a virtual agent or also possibly a Power App for that. And finance and compliance. This could be a good use case to build, say, a budget tracker or management system, maybe an expense reimbursement request. We actually have a template available that you can plug and play with inside Power Apps for expense reimbursement. Now you're probably wondering, how many people are actually using the Power Platform? Well, 97% of Fortune 500 companies use the Power Platform in some capacity. We have a very extensive customer base ranging from healthcare to food and beverage. EY is one of the companies that have really embraced the Power Platform. They had a challenge when the pandemic hit. They were faced with the huge task of managing and processing coronavirus relief funds. One of the things making this difficult was the criteria was constantly changing. So they needed a tool to really help streamline this whole process. And they turned to the Power Platform for that. Now, this was a highly involved process that used Power Automate to process some CSV files from an SFTP server and have that automatically load the data inside of Dataverse. And then once that data was processed, it would invite the user or the applicant through a Power Automate flow to go and sign into a Power Apps portal to fill in their loan application. Even though this was a really involved process, they were able to go from prototype to production in just 12 short weeks. A task that would be virtually impossible to do in that amount of time with custom code. Then we look at Toyota, another customer really embracing the Power Platform. Now, while they rolled out the Power Platform to enable makers, they were also worried about shadow IT. So they actually developed a process through Power Platform to automate this. So when a maker builds their first application, that triggers a Power Automate flow, which will send an email from IT asking for the user to register their application. If the user is unresponsive to that, their app is automatically unshared. If they respond, they're going to go through a Power App to register their application. IT will identify if any similar projects or apps exist and notify the maker. The maker assumes responsibility for the application, and IT is there to help. If the app is highly successful or they see enterprise-wide needs for the application, IT can then graduate that application to their enterprise app environment. And this actually happens a lot. Toyota actually found that something that might start as a citizen development built application oftentimes becomes valuable where the whole company can benefit from it. And one more customer story I wanted to share is that of Slumberjack. Alan Chai, one of our Power Apps champs and MVPs, is a digital transformation leader there at Slumberjack and has really driven their Power Platform implementation. This one company has built over 10,000 applications on the Power Platform, and they have over 2,000 monthly active makers. And the folks at Slumberjack are very famous for creating beautiful Power Apps applications, and you can see just a handful of some of the apps that have been built. And these stories are really just the beginning. We have so many more. From small islands being able to respond to the COVID crisis in a matter of weeks with the Power Platform, to a family-owned HVAC manufacturer being able to use the Power Platform to integrate mixed reality, to a national railway going digital and upskilling its workforce. Now I wanted to shift focus to 5 focus areas for the next level of low-code. And they're enterprise trust, AI everywhere, remote work, fusion teams, and hyper-automation. We're going to dive into each of these and show some of the investments we're making into each area. Starting with enterprise trust. One of the key things that we've released here is related to our data loss prevention policies. We've had the ability to set these policies for a while to restrict which connectors can talk to each other. So say we're building an application or a flow, and we don't want to allow users to, say, mix our business critical data like Salesforce, Dynamics, SharePoint, and all of that with, say, some social media applications like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We were able to set policies to limit the ability to mix and match certain connectors. The main problem with that, though, is it's an all or nothing. Up until now we have the ability to go into the individual action level inside of our connectors in those DLP policies. So now if we want to have some kind of DLP policy which would restrict the Twitter connector, maybe we want to allow people to retrieve data from Twitter but not post tweets. Now we can do that with these new granular controls and being able to restrict individual actions. So giving us more flexibility to make sure that our data is secure. And related along this, we also have new endpoint filtering capabilities. One of the things that we're able to do inside of Power Automate is make HTTP requests. Now, as a way to secure those HTTP requests, we can specify which particular endpoints that your HTTP actions can call. Now let's talk about AI everywhere. We have a lot of new advancements that we're making in this sector. Starting with PowerFX, the low-code formula language for the Power Platform. PowerFX started from Power Apps Canvas applications, and it's based on the Microsoft Excel language. We have now open-sourced PowerFX programming language. So while this started inside Power Apps Canvas apps, we're now starting to see this get used more widely across the Power Platform, like in our Dataverse calculated columns and in our model-driven applications. Possibly one of the biggest announcements and new things we're doing in the AI space is AI-assisted app authoring with something called Power Apps Ideas. This is using OpenAI's GPT-3 technology. This lets us understand natural language, and it will automatically generate the code based off of our natural language needed to make that happen. This means we're actually taking a step from going from a low-code technology and low-code app building to a true no-code app building experience. So a good example of this is, rather than having to know the PowerFX formula to do some kind of filter on your gallery, say to filter items that are equal to the current logged in user. With Power Apps Ideas, we have a new ideas section where we can type in a natural language query. So saying something like, show me all items assigned to me. I don't have to know any formula language or any code. I'm just telling it what I want it to do. And then behind the scenes with this new technology, it's outputting the PowerFX formula for me. This is something that's being rolled out slowly. Right now, you can use this in your Power Apps applications today to use inside of your galleries. But this will be extended more as time goes on. And then talking about AI more broadly, we're really democratizing AI and mixed reality inside of our Power Platform applications. Some of the key things we're doing is really extending the AI builder models. So we have several models for forms processing, text recognition, and all of that. And we also have mixed reality component, which recently just went generally available. This allows us to do things like viewing things in 3D and mixed reality, and it even has a cool mixed reality measuring component, all fully baked into Power Apps and ready to use. And one of the big things in this space that was just announced a few weeks ago at Ignite is that we're now including AI Builder credits inside of your Power Apps premium licensing. So no longer do you have to go out and buy additional AI Builder capacity to start taking advantage of some of these AI Builder models. We're addressing remote work by enabling hybrid work inside of Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams has really blown up in usage since the pandemic and everyone working virtually. So we've really tightened the integration with the Power Platform and Microsoft Teams so that we can build these business applications and integrate them with inside of Teams seamlessly. And more than 10% of Power Apps users are now in Teams. Fusion Teams is another big focus area for the Power Platform. Fusion Teams are all about how we can have pro devs, citizen devs, and IT pros work together to build business solutions. And to help accelerate these Fusion Teams, we've released a few new key things, including GitHub source code integration. So now if we're building a Canvas Power App, for example, we have the ability to extract that Canvas app into code so that a developer can open that up inside of Visual Studio and make any changes or adjustments that they need to and package that up into source control. And we've also tightened up the integration with the Power Platform in Azure and Visual Studio so that we can now publish and work with the Power Platform natively in those tools. So namely, we have a new Power Platform extension for VS Code, and we have the ability inside the Azure portal to natively build and integrate with the Power Platform. From the hyper automation side, one of the things that I'm personally really excited about is adding real-time collaboration into our Power Platform applications. Co-presence and co-authoring is something that has been requested for quite a while on the Power Platform, and at Ignite we're very excited to announce that that is now a possibility inside of Power Automate and Power Apps. As you see, we can now have real-time presence, so more than one person can be inside of a Power App at the same time, and we have some built-in commenting that we can take advantage of. So there's lots of exciting new innovations and functionality that have come to the Power Platform over the past year and that we're continuing to invest in. And of course, all of this wouldn't be possible without our amazing community. Our community is really our superpower. We have over 2 million active users in our digital Power Platform communities and over 500 independent user groups worldwide. Last year, we saw nearly 2,000 App in a Day workshops, spanning over 50 countries and nearly 60,000 attendees. Now, I might be a little bit biased, but I truly believe that we have the best, most welcoming and inclusive community of any tech out there. I've been blessed to be part of this community since really early on, almost the beginning, when I was working in my consulting company and I discovered the Power Platform. The community is really what brought me where I am today. And I've made so many good friends through the Power Addicts community. I never imagined when I was sitting there having a chat with some of my friends virtually about starting up some kind of virtual meetup where we could share stories and chat and help other Power Platform assess people like us, that it would turn into a global movement that we now know today as the Power Addicts. Thousands of people across the globe recognize themselves with the hashtag Power Addict on their Twitter handle. And many of these Power Addicts are also recognized as our Power Platform champions. These champions are recognized by Microsoft for embracing low-code and creating change and massive impact inside of their organizations. One of these champions is Azure McFarland. And I really love some of these stories because a lot of the people that come into the Power Platform don't come from traditional IT backgrounds. And that's one of the things that I just really love about it. It's for people of all backgrounds. It can be people from traditional IT backgrounds like myself. And we even have people from backgrounds like theater, finance, and in Azure's case, bioprocess engineering. So as a bioprocess engineer at our company, Azure stumbled onto the Power Platform through a Power Automate in a Day workshop. She became hooked and went on to actually lead one of those workshops. And I mentioned Alan earlier, but he's another one of our Power Platform champs. And you can see the impact that he's had at his company building up their Power Platform champions there, or what he refers to as agents. Fian is another one of our inspirational Power Platform champions. She ended up stumbling upon the Power Platform, teaching herself everything, which led to her starting a Citizen Developer Academy at her work. And she also leads an online women in tech group focused on the Power Platform called Tech Stylers. And another example of one of our community Power Addicts members is Hemekia. Hemekia actually comes from our Microsoft Student Ambassador program. She was actually inspired to try the Power Platform from Donna Sarkar. And she set out to learn Power Apps and build a COVID tracker. From then on, she was hooked and became really involved in learning the Power Platform and getting involved in the community. And just recently, she actually joined Microsoft. Now, I love all these stories of the Power Addicts across the globe and hearing about all their backgrounds and how they got into the Power Platform. My goal for this coming up year is to have a Power Addict in every single country. Now, we're already off to a great start. As you can see from this Power BI dashboard that I'm using to track this, we have Power Addicts in so many countries already. But I know there are so many more out there that we just don't know about yet. Now, all a Power Addict is someone that is using the Power Platform and is passionate about it. There's nothing that you have to do to be a Power Addict. It's just a self-identification that you are obsessed with the Power Platform and you want to share your knowledge and love of it to the rest of the world. So you can go to aka.ms/Power Addict, fill out a simple form with your name and your Twitter handle and where you're from, and we'll get you lit up on this map and be recognized as a Power Platform expert in your community. Some things that I want to leave you with, or some homework as Donna Sarkar likes to refer to it as. One is to get engaged. If you're not already, get involved in the Power Platform community. We have a great virtual community, and we also have user groups. So I really encourage you, if there is one, to find a user group in your area and get involved that way. So you can go to our Power Users community, which I have the link to there, or get involved in Twitter. Just search for the hashtag PowerAddicts, and you can find all of the Power Addicts community that way. If you're just getting started with the Power Platform and not sure exactly what to do or how to get ramped up on what you can do with the Power Platform, check out the free Udacity course that the Power Platform advocacy team put together at aka.ms/Udacity Power. It's a good interactive course that takes you through all the basics and really is a good ramp up to getting started on your Power Platform journey. You can also learn more from me personally. I do have a very active YouTube channel where I post a lot of Power Platform related videos. So if you want to do some more in-depth learning there, definitely check that out. And finally, I want to hear your story. Reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me know what you're doing with the Power Platform. And that's all that I have for you today. I wanted to leave you just by saying thank you so much for allowing me to be here and talk to you all today at the Power Platform French Summit. And don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.